Okay. Am I back? Oh. How about I turn on my webcam? I didn't want to get like the crazy thumbnail that I got last time. So let me get really quick my chat back up here. Okay, yeah, it just like the whole thing just went down. This is getting really annoying. I don't know why this is happening, and I don't know how to stop the original stream, but we're just going to have to roll with it. So we're not here forever. Trying to get situated. I think we're just getting used to this. I don't know what's happening every Sunday. Maybe it's the time of day. I'm not entirely sure. Am I buffering again? I feel like I am. Okay, maybe not. Oh no, I paused my own video. That's what it is. All right, thank you all. I'm so sorry. Thank you for coming back. All right, I got my live chat back up. We were talking about the Wheel of Fortune. See, I was ready to roll with the change. I had my thumbnail ready to go. I just thought, you know, we'll just be ready to recover quickly should we need to. I don't know. It's like maybe I should just stop. Like after we do like the original RWS, maybe I should just start and stop and start a new stream because goodness gracious. All right. Thank you everyone who's coming back. I appreciate it. Oh, thank you for another thumbs up. You know, this has got to be wreaking havoc on my stats, but whatever. That's not really why we're here, is it? Okay. Perfect song for talking about the wheel. Which song was that? Okay. Your audio is out of sync. Is it back in sync now? I'm not surprised. Oh, rolling. All right, the wheel keeps on turning. Yes, it does. Okay, yeah, I know to prepare myself now. All right. Okay, back to the Wheel of Fortune. Any particular thoughts on this particular version? I think right before we crashed, we were talking about how this looked like a roulette wheel, the Wheel of Misfortune. I know. I have tried the tricks. Like I've rebooted my router. I don't even know. Yeah, I love the moon phases on this card because that, you know, that every 28-day cycle, that's another example of sort of that continuous motion, the phases that the moon goes through, right? Kathy says, I think the hare represents the druids. Interesting. So let me see what he says in the book here about his wheel. Okay, and it's not very much, so we can get through this pretty quickly. This card borrows some elements from the traditional Wheel of Fortune, including a token reference to the Marseille Tarot. It represents the eternal cycle of contrasting fates and fortune, each a combination of our own influence and choices, but many things are ultimately determined by luck and circumstance. The hare is an indication of things to come. Let's see. The hare is an indication of things to come. I will rule. The lion, the present, I am ruling. The monkey, possibly a mocking realization of the temporal nature of our previous state. I did rule. And finally, the abstract, empty, fourth, non-state, I have no rule. That's an interesting way to think about that, I think. Everybody's got songs in their heads now. See, the government is on to me. I've let out the top secret of Area 50. Yeah, Alana. They're like, shut that talk down. Somebody is on to us. Close that stream. All right, you take your puppy out, Jonathan. Shane, hello. I have no rule. Do you like that, Shane? Emily says, for the last card, we need to see the divinity in ourselves and remember that we are all part of the one universe, unity consciousness, to have compassion and patience for others. Oh, were you answering that question? Did I miss that in the last one? Sorry. Some TDMs have a monkey and a rabbit-looking creatures. Okay, so that's what the nod is to that then, which makes a lot of sense. Thank you. Thank you for coming back. Elle, did you by any chance post the link in the old stream? I'm not sure. I'm sure you did. I'm sure you did. Yeah, I wish I could get it to stop streaming, but that would take me way too long. All right, thanks for coming back, y'all. Okay, thank you. Elle's like top mod. Celtic Tarot Sheila, hello. Fell to Earth, hello. All right, we got some more new folks here. Thank you. John says, the ape-headed figure also in the Thoth Tarot, meaning in Thoth, creative spirit and development. Ooh, interesting. And Oklahoma says there's an older tarot with monkeys on the Wheel of Fortune card. So we have a nod back to historical cards, which I think is really interesting. Okay, so do we want to answer our second question? I don't know, did Aquarius Al find us to answer her question? I don't know if she's back in here or not, but we'll go ahead and answer it anyway, which was the question, how can we enhance our creativity this week? How can we enhance our creativity this week? So the first thing that came to mind was really literal, and it's change it up, do something different. Oh, you're here. Oh, good, because I'm trying to answer your question. You know, let the wheel turn in a way that maybe we have been resisting, moving on and doing something a little different. But let's see what you guys think. Justin says, I think Waite and Smith were the first to put the 4 signs of zodiac on the wheel. Sean says, let it roll. You know, or maybe Elle saves our tarot play dates every time. I know, I can count on her. She has got my back. Thank you, Elle. Any other thoughts on how we can enhance our creativity this week? One of the things, this is something that I have done since I was probably 12 years old. When I can't figure out what I want to do, I'll put a bunch of ideas I'll do something dumb, like a bunch of ideas on a piece of paper, stick it in a hat, put it in a random name generator or something like that. And then I will just literally do a random selection. I will let the wheel decide what I do. Does anybody else do that? Like household chores, I do that too. That's not very creative, but I'm just saying, you could find a way to let fate decide. Emily says, ooh, okay, this card feels fun and vibrant to me. Creative and innovative. Think outside the box. Maybe don't think, play. Chris, Elemental Cartomancy, says, choose your time wisely. You can't control everything, so give yourself the best chance. Ooh, that's an interesting way to look at it. Justin says, go with the flow. Let your imagination roll. Emily says, do something that feels fun. Barely Balanced Chris says, creativity. Don't be afraid to turn things upside down. Let it come to you. Look for inspiration on the randomness or in the randomness of life's events. Ooh, I like that. Fell to Earth says, the wheel to me has an element of self-control. The Aquarian can spin the wheel and take chances rather than just be passive. Spinning the wheel could encourage you to think differently, right? Maybe pushing the change along. Emily's got lots of ideas. Paint, draw, sing, dance, work out. All of the different areas on the wheel, right? Oak Mama says, Marchetti did an interview with German Tarot Association where he said he wasn't interested in reinventing tarot, so it's always going to have a historical base. Ooh, thanks for the background on that. Aquarius Al says, I'm about to embark on a creative adventure or endeavor I've never tried before, so I'm just going to roll with it. Oh, I like it. See, we've answered the question. Keep it moving. Allow the moment to speak. Emily's got lots of ideas for us to express ourselves creatively. Longman Tarot says, mix it up. Take a chance at something unusual. Okay, loving that. All right, let's move on since Cheryl crashed our stream. Thanks so much. All right, this is the next one I have is the Ancestral Path Tarot. So let's see what we've got in here. This is I have the original version that I picked up at a used bookstore, but I love these big ones. These big ones? These big cards. Okay, this is very different. What y'all think of this one? Put that back there with the books. I'm staying somewhat organized today, so that's good. All right. Here and just so you know, I haven't been showing the backs of these in case anybody's interested, but here is, hi Renee, the Tarot Magician. Nice to see you. I'm glad you found us on the right stream. There is a lot going on here. So this is very obviously universal galaxy. The wheel suddenly feels a lot bigger, doesn't it? Celestial, says Emily. Love this deck, says Julie. T-Cat, answering the question from before, enhance your creativity by throwing yourself into something that you wouldn't have expected. Take a bike trip to somewhere unknown, etc. Alana, yes, love all these answers. Neem, Essence 818, try something that you have considered or have not considered and be prepared for an outcome that you don't expect and then meet it by adapting to work in your favor. At least check it off your to-try list. Oh, everybody's loving that last question. Chris says, I love the top section of this card. What is going on the bottom? There is a lot going on there, isn't there? Like this, does it look to you like this is like a ring or maybe around a planet, but then with all of these symbols? Now I have, and then like manuscripts. So maybe these are kind of representative of the books. What do I have? This one does not come with, okay, I'm looking. Oh, it does come with a little white book. Shall we take a look? And hopefully it'll tell us something about the artwork. I have the original guidebook that came with this. That's how I ended up with that other. Oh, I missed the rest of your comment, Alana. Oh, well, I was kind of, let's see, letting their creative juices flow with the ever-changing wheel cards from different decks. Yeah, I was just trying to keep up with the chat. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to make you feel like I'm not reading your whole comment. Sometimes I have to truncate to get to everyone. Let's see, Julie, this is astrology based. This card speaks about interconnectivity on all scales from individual to the entire galaxy. Val says that's the plane of the ecliptic, where the planets rotate around the sun. The tan thingy, that sounds like how I would describe it. The tan thingy is a ceiling painting from Egypt. Okay. So here we have, oh, I don't think it describes the artwork, which is kind of unfortunate. In this is just like a little teeny tiny book. It just says, it just has keywords, so that's not really particularly helpful. Okay. That's all right. Let's see. Did I miss any other? Oh, Barely Balanced Tarot says solar system as a great big wheel we have no control over. The zodiac is still there, right? I mean, we're literally in the sky now. Let's see. I wish I knew more about what these different symbols meant. Okay. Oh, look, it looks like we have a scorpion there. So these different, okay, this is Pisces, right? And this one, the Archer, which one's that one? Suddenly, my astrology went right out of my head. Okay, we have the Ram over here. So we have Aries. So it looks like we definitely have the zodiac signs going on here. Look at how the planets are in your natural chart and remediate any malefic placements or conjunctions, says Emily. Celestial top, terrestrial bottom. As above, so below. Ooh, I like that. That makes a lot of sense. Sagittarius and Capricorn. Thank you. Thank you, Julie. Come into my astrological rescue. Sagittarius is the archer. Okay, thank you. Longman Tarot says, I get a sense of one of those astronomic clockwork solar systems. Everything is ticking away in rhythm. We are still an important cog in the big machine. And everything is moving and changing. Exactly. The standing stones on Earth mark the movement of the heavens below or above. Sorry, I looked away. So the standing stones here. This is the Ancestral Path Tarot, Jonathan. So our third question was from Kathy. How do you get your energy back after the tower? Okay, I just totally went glitchy, but hopefully I'm still here. Okay, how do you get your energy back after the tower? TCAT says all these astrological signs represent the different phases in us and in that way connects into Wheel of Fortune that runs this world. Interesting. Yeah, since you already crashed the chat. Troublemaker, Alana. Mandy says, oh, you guys are talking about a class. Everything is connected, Fell to Earth had said earlier. Okay, so how would you answer the question? How do you get your energy back after the tower? And once again, I feel like this is too easy, but it's coming back and recognizing that moment, right? That moment of collapse that we experienced with the tower, we're not going to be in that moment forever. Things are going to change. We need to also embrace the changes that come after having a tower moment. If we can lean into those changes, if we can learn the lessons that we need to learn and recognize that probably that happened on some level, potentially for our own good, and we can embrace that change, that's how we can kind of re-energize, right? Get excited about the changes that are coming. Find a way to embrace those where you can take some control over those changes. Sean says you have to wait. which is exactly the opposite of what I said, which is like, I'm like, ooh, take control, lean into the change. Sean's just like, all right, just hang back, just wait. Emily, look at, oh yes, look at where your planets are, literally, and how you can respond to how current placements are affecting your natal planets to remediate anything that sucks the energy. So really embracing the astrological components of whatever's going on in your life at the moment. Is that what you mean, Emily? Look at your chart. Fairly Balanced Tarot, Chris says, energy back after the tower, realign ourselves with the natural cycles of nature and the ebb and flow of life. We are always in cycles within cycles. Ooh, I like that too. So, it's Emily's saying, connect with connect with the placement of the planets and all of that. And then Chris is, realigning with the natural cycles. Yeah, they're in sync here. Let's see. Chris says, don't dwell in the shit times. Appreciate and accept that happier times are on their way, just like spring always comes after the winter. Jonathan, all things are in constant movement. Nothing stays down forever. Once you've hit bottom, there's nowhere to go but up, right? I mean, as we're turning, we come back up the other side. Celtic Tarot Sheila, hello. Lean into the chaos and bring back your gift from the darkness. Ooh, that's lovely. Mindy says, I think this card is also a fantastic illustration that when we are having tower moments, we need to realize the universe is bigger than we are, and perspective can help us move forward. Yeah, sometimes I think when we experience disruption, tower moments, it can be very easy to turn inward and think about how this is affecting just us personally, right? This is why is this happening to me? That's not fair, and being able to kind of get out of ourselves and look at the bigger impact or what's going on in the world around us can sometimes help put that perspective into place and make that moment feel less big and less chaotic potentially. So I love that. All right, I'm going to keep it moving because I just do not trust the YouTube stream. So we're going to get a bit more ethereal here, which I guess we already kind of started with the Shimmering Veil Tarot. This is its first appearance in Tarot Playdate, I believe, because it's a newer deck to my collection. So let's see what we've got here. So we're definitely sticking with the galaxy theme. Not a ton of symbology here. More like it's probably just going to evoke a feeling and an emotion in you. What do you think? I think it's gorgeous. I love like the spirals of energy that are coming out here. I can feel the movement in this card. Sean says, love, T-Cat. So going back and answering the previous question, but remembering that sometimes you lose big time, like in the tower, but you may not see how those changes come out eventually. There may be a blessing there anyways, right? I like that. Emily had said, full moon in Aries on 1st of October, we can use this to realign with what we need for ourselves and our bodies and come to balance in Libra system. Ooh, I like that too. So Water Child Tarot feels like, you're getting sucked into this card, right? It really draws you in, doesn't it? Emily loves it. Aquarius Owl sees the galaxy. I love that they made the wheel into a galaxy image, says Jonathan. Yes, everybody's loving it. Water down the plug hole. So Richard's seeing the spiraling water go down the drain. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's see. Essence agreed with Mendy, like this had to happen, but look upward and onward. The wheel will spin if you don't hang on and weigh it down, bottom wallowing in it. Lean into it. Easier said than done. Yes, embracing change is very difficult. It's pretty, but there's a big old black hole there waiting to suck us in. But that's not a black hole. That's a hole of light. Right? It's a light hole, a white hole. The more I say hole, the worse it sounds, but you get what I'm saying. Donna says, oh, that was Donna's comment. Alana says the card is very beautiful, chaotic, but that is what creates the beauty in this card, same as life, right? Well, and then here too, this change is happening and it feels like it has a big effect or a big impact. There's a lot of little stars in here. So as this movement is happening, if we really were to drill into everything that's affected, how far out are we zoomed out on this thing? And are these a bunch of planets and stars? And we think about that impact, that is definitely bigger than us, right? I stopped, don't worry. That's an expanding universe, fits Jupiter, says Oak Mama. Kathy says that card is electrical, like igniting the combinations of good fortune and transition to the next cycle. Emily says, I do feel that without the symbolism from the RWS, it relies on the intuitive reading. Definitely. Julie says, we come from light and we return to it. Ooh, that's an interesting way to look at this card. Barely Balanced Tarot says, talking to Mendy, but I think it applies here. This image really draws out your perspective comment. Look how small our problems feel here. Where even is the earth? Exactly. That's kind of what I was trying to get at there. Donna says, I think they've discovered spiral galaxies have a black hole at the center. But I like the light. It's more positive, isn't it? Sorry, I do have a tendency to lean towards the positive. Neem says, this card scares me a bit. Like, oh, you've done effed up now. Come into the light. No, thank you. All right, so you have an opposite reaction to the light at the center of the galaxy. Very interesting. T-Cat, this image could be about something being born or dying in the space. Very Wheel of Fortune-y. This is the Shimmering Veil Tarot. This is the book for it by Scylla Conway, Emily. Raven Morning Glory, hello, hello. All right, so speaking of Emily, Emily's question, how can we shift our perspectives if we find ourselves challenged this week? Oh, this card is perfect for that. How can we shift our perspective? And I think it's what, Mendy was already talking about and I was babbling about and others as well. It's recognizing that we are just a small part of something that's much bigger, and sometimes expanding our perspective and recognizing the greater good sometimes, or even the greater chaos or the greater changes that are happening around us that are outside of us might make things feel less centric into our own experience. We're centered on our own experience. But let's see what you guys have to think here. So Chris Barely Balanced Tarot says, even the universe is born and dies, expansion and contraction, cycles. Yes. Donna, the light is the energy given off by stars being destroyed by the black hole. Oh, I see what you're saying there. See, teeny tiny, says Emily. We are just teeny tiny in this card, aren't we? If we're even in here. Jody Dow, hi Jody. Science suggests that all large galaxies, including our Milky Way, have supermassive black holes at the center. I have heard this. Emily says, yes, zooming out and looking at the wider picture. All right, so again, Emily's question was, how can we shift our perspectives if we find ourselves challenged this week, right? And it's expanding our view and maybe being able to look a little bit more objectively about where we are at in the greater picture of the things that might be changing. Donna says, but the energy can't be destroyed, but just changes form, which also is very interesting when you think about that as it relates to the Wheel of Fortune. Becca says, the universe really boggles my mind. Yes, I completely understand. When I really start to think about the universe, and I took an astronomy course in my 20s, and it just makes me feel this tiny, like just so tiny. Alana says, I agree and believe that as above, it explains the process of expanding ourselves through our experiences, both good and bad alike. The yin and yang effect, both is what helps guide us. And then there's something else, but Mendy says, yeah, this card feels destructive to me for some reason, not cycling through and coming back, but winding to an end. Oh, yeah, I mean, and especially I think if you have more understanding of that and how that energy could be spiraling inward rather than just circling. So I can see that. Now you want to watch Twilight. How did we get to Twilight? How did that happen? Oh my goodness. All right, do we feel like we got some answers for Emily? Okuma says, but after the end comes a new beginning, like our death card too, right? Okay. Oh, Chris had a crush on Emmett. I don't know what's happening with the Twilight talk, but I'm not judging. I'm kind of a secret fan. I'm not going to lie. Donna says, how can it be infinite, but how can it not be? A cosmic pickle or conundrum. Yes. All right. We have one more, and this one is probably going to be a little bit more on the abstract side as well. T-Cat says, seeing that butterfly effect you have on the world. Even if you feel challenged, you may still have a big impact on someone else's life. Very true. So my last deck for today is the Star Seeker Tarot. And then don't forget, we're going to talk about reversals. So don't run away if you want to catch that piece of it. And that's also a reminder to me, so I don't forget that we need to talk about the reversals. Ooh, somebody got their wish. This particular deck shows the Wheel of Fortune. I love the backs on it. Isn't it so pretty? We have our Spiderweb. So who was it at the beginning that said I feel like it might have been Chris Barely Balanced, but I might be guessing that wrong, that loves to see the wheel depicted as a spider web and a little bit differently than the RWS. Was it you, Chris? All right. Hi, Jenna. I'm glad I wasn't sure if you found us in this new stream, so I'm glad you're here. The rose petal finish. Maybe because I'm a riffle shuffler, I can riffle shuffle rose petal finish decks. I don't do so much hand over hand shuffling, but I know that's become a point of contention for many people. But it is pretty. Arachne and Anansi, am I saying it? This is it perfectly, says Becca. Right? So tell me, so I actually struggle a little bit with the spider web representing the Wheel of Fortune, but let's go ahead and take a nice close look. I don't know how well it'll zoom in. I feel like that spider should be a good focal point. Come on. Come on, camera. There you go. Sorry for anybody who doesn't like spiders. I'm not a huge fan. I love that we have the stars. Ooh, what's that? Is that a signature hidden there, maybe? I don't know what. Oh, no, that's a caught little bug. That spider caught a little something down there, I think. The spider takes down and rebuilds a new web every day. Do they really? Yeah, sometimes I have to get rid of some of the spider webs that are right in the middle of my path so I don't walk head first into them. So that spider definitely has to rebuild a new web. See, my memory is not totally broken, Chris. The spider takes, oh yeah, I read that one. Emily says, I see it in the analogy of the womb web and the connection between the wombs of our ancestors. R.I.P. fly. Oak Mama says, in Tarot of the Divine, Yoshi makes the Wheel of Fortune Anansi too. Anansi. I don't know what that is. In a spider web, the fly takes its chance, death or break the web and escape. Oh, interesting. Barely Balanced says web of life, web of word, web of fate. Cast our nets. Am I saying that right? Word, W-Y-R-D. Cast our nets to catch what we can. Fate has to be remade frequently, doesn't last forever, follows a pattern, an instinctual pattern. I love the pattern concept. That really resonates with me. Donna, so a giant spider waiting for us at the center of the galaxy instead of a black hole. There's that. Chris Elemental Cartomancy says, whose web is an analogy for the interconnectedness of everything? ? Ooh, very good. Okay, Jonathan, answering for me, Anansi is an African god connected with spiders. Thank you. I did not know that. Oak Mama, bringing the same answer for me. Thank you. Thank you both for a weird. Got it. That makes better sense. White Tree Tarot says, I like how those stars seem to be attached to the web. Perspective thing again. And it makes it beautiful. It really helps highlight the beauty that's happening within the web. Sometimes we look at these things and maybe there's something to be said about sort of that fear of the unknown, fear of spiders, the fear of running into a web and getting it caught in your hair. Right? Let's see. Celtic Tarot Sheila says, the spider is the universe, is perfect architect. You can weave your life to suit you, or you can weave your life to get caught up in it. Your choice. Ooh, interesting way of looking at that. Ooh, mouth of Alana. Gross. Kathy says, grandmother spider reminds us to create and create. Yes. Emily says, the perfect symmetry. Longman Tarot also links to the spinner of the years, the thread of life. Ooh, I like that. Natural symmetry of the web. Becca says, spider web is one of the strongest things on earth, right? That's true. And I've seen it. Sometimes, like do you ever notice, to me, I find it super interesting. I'll water my yard, right? And sometimes I will turn on the jet spray of the hose for, I don't know, whatever reason. And even that will not knock down a spider web. And I feel, I don't know, I feel like it should, but they are always so much stronger than I think. Barely Balanced says, grandmother spider in many native myths is the creator deity spinning the web of life, creativity, and creation. Yeah, let's see what's said. Oh, and this is called the Star Spinner Tarot, isn't it? Let's see what they say in the book here. Maybe we'll get a little bit more insight as well. The wheel represents the cycles of life that keep turning. Just like the seasons, we are part of this natural rhythm. Let's see. Oh, I want to go down to where they talk about the spider web. Pictured as the web of life. You are part of this web that connects us all, and throughout life, your position on the web will shift and turn. Sometimes that means you will feel powerful, like the spider, master of the web. Oh, and then sometimes we're the bug. I see where this is going. Okay. Other times you may feel lost or helpless, like the wandering fly. The wheel appears to remind you that the position you're in is not always your choice. Accept where you are and realize there is a reason you find yourself there. Ooh, very interesting. See, I clean a lot, but I leave the webs for as long as I can, says Emily. I like the spiders. I like the spiders. I let them live outside, which is very, and I've come a long way. I used to be very afraid of spiders. Now I'm like, okay, you do your thing. You have your place. I need to not mess with that. But sometimes they take over my yard. And I'm like, oh, so many? Do we need so many? Chris, Elemental Cartomancy, says, at Jonathan, it's someone's web, like it's named after them, like Daly's web. Okay, so maybe there was something I missed there. Except it's the person who came up with the concept. The idea is that everything is connected. Okama said, ooh, that gave me a chill down my spine. Becca says, I have a little spider in the corner. It works so hard, I can't move it. Right? You're like, go little spider. You don't want to destroy what they worked on. I get that. All right, so our last question was from Oak Mama. How can we, interesting language in your question. How can we connect with our ancestors to heal the wounds in our world consciousness? That's a big question, but is there a more perfect card to answer it? How can we connect with our ancestors to heal the wounds in our world consciousness? Ooh. Hi, Hen. Good morning. I know it's early for you. Let's see. Celtic Tarot Sheila had said, hence the architect, you can either build your web to work for you or you can build your web to get caught up in it, right? So how can we connect with our ancestors to heal the wounds in our world consciousness? And it's recognizing that that web is far reaching and spans time and space, right? And everything is connected. The webs that our ancestors wove are still affecting us to this day. And maybe we are still even living in some of that. I'm just babbling, but these are the kinds of things that are coming to mind as I think about that. Very interesting. What do you all think? You are welcome to sit quietly or loudly, Jen, whichever you want to do. Y'all the chills, says Oak Mama, right? This connectedness is just something that really jumped out at me from your question and this card. Barely Balanced Tarot says, ancestors for healing, rebuild the web of connection behind temporal illusions. All things are connected, past, present, and future. Yes, Jody says to learn from their past mistakes, right? If their web got knocked down, let's build it stronger and better, right? Acknowledgement, says Celtic Tarot Sheila. What a perfect card, says Donna. The question again, T-Cat, is how can we connect with our ancestors to heal the wounds in our world consciousness? I also think it's very important to recognize that not only are we connected to our ancestors, but we're connected to each other. You know, it can be very easy for people to think in their human experience that what is happening to somebody way over there on the other side of the country, on the other side of the world, across town has nothing to do with them. And I think that can be a bit short-sighted, to be frank. And I think we have to remember that we are all connected and the human experience is dependent on all of us to make that be something that everybody can experience in the best possible way. And a lot of times we don't look out for our brothers and sisters and our people across the world and the people across town the way that I think we can. We have to recognize that we are all part of this big web. We are all part of this big galaxy. Anyway, okay, soapbox down. Let's see what you guys have to say. Emily said, literally as female eggs already inside wombs like the Russian dolls. I feel like I read that out of context. Oh, connections from womb to our ancestors' wombs. We can womb healing through meditation and path working. Okay, I think I put that all together. The web of life connects us to all things, says Jonathan. Donna says the web expands ever outward, becoming more inclusive, not less so. Val says the spider can feel any little vibration in its web. Barely Balanced Tarot says we also don't have to repeat the patterns of past mistakes, collectively, historically. We can connect to the best of the past to help us create new patterns for the present and future. Right? Learn how to build our web stronger, not tear it down. Elemental Cartomancy Chris says, we need to be patient and wait for signs from ancestors, like the spider waiting to feel the movement in its web. Seize opportunities to connect when they present themselves. Ooh, yes, I love that. Celtic Tarot Sheila said, ancestors are like gentlemen. They will not help you unless you ask. It truly is in the asking and the willingness to accept the help. Ooh, bye, Mindy. Thank you so much for being here today. Christian Tarot Lady, hello. Water Child Tarot says to Emily, interesting, this deck has a bonus card called the womb. Oh, I think it does. You're right. Jonathan, each of the junctions represent an ancestor, and altogether they weave the patterns of our lives. Emily says, yes, when you know better, you do better. Let's hope so. Let's hope so. Okay, that was good stuff. So really quickly, I won't take too much time with this, and then don't forget we'll have an activity. Oh, by the way, did anybody try to build the tower card? I could not. I know anybody who tried to build the tower card for what I thought was a brilliant activity. Yeah, the tower kept falling down. I just could not. Anyway, so the Wheel of Fortune reversed. What do you see when this card is reversed? What do you think? To me, it's really not rolling with the changes. It's not embracing the changes. It feels a little bit more chaotic, this change, when this is reversed, or if you don't read reversals, in a blocked position. Elle and I were trying to build with rose petal finish cardstock, and we were not having any good luck. Yeah, Chris says I tried and lost after 3 cards. Yeah. I thought that would be like hearkening back to childhood, a fun way to embrace the tower. It was a mess. Oh, 17 cards. That's pretty good, Elle. All right. Bye, Chris. Thank you for being here. Emily says denial. It feels like heels stuck in the ground when reversed to me. Like, are we trying to hold on too tightly to the wheel? We're trying to prevent the change. We're not rolling with it, and we're getting dragged along rather than maybe more along for the ride. Kathy says not letting go, hanging on to the drama of the past. Jonathan, reverse. The wheel can represent stagnation and delay. So maybe the change isn't happening. Things appear to be going nowhere. There's no progression and no development. Yeah, I would have liked to see your 17 card tower, Al, but it probably crashed before I could take a picture. T-Cat says, reverse. This card reminds us that everything has its time and everything good has to come to the end. Yeah, I was also going to see, I can't remember if they do reversals in this book. I don't think that they do. And then I also have my app as well, but I feel like you guys have pretty much covered it. Becca says 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Let me see if this has any other good insights for me as a non-reversal reading. Lacking control, confusion, ongoing struggle, setbacks, or if you look at this as fortune, right, and luck, maybe not such good luck. The wheel is not spinning, says Jonathan. Instead of expansion and abundance, you have contraction. You maybe experience a streak of bad luck or unfavorable events. Emily says, yes, allowing those old stories we tell ourselves play out again and again in our current reality because we can't let go of the past or work through the pain, shadows, trauma. And I don't know if I read this out loud or not. Becca's comment, 1 step forward, 2 steps back, which can be very frustrating. Chris Elemental Cartomancy says, reverse the wheel represents movement from the more physical realm of the majors into the underworld where we deal with shadow. Reverse means not willing to make this transition. Oak Mama reversal, out of control, bad luck, negative external forces. Waterchild Tarot, your hopes and wishes being sucked into a black hole, right? So black hole or washing down the drain. So does this change when we see that card upside down? It's kind of the same, isn't it? Oh, Billy's Craft Room. Yeah, I'm so sorry. We started a little over 90 minutes ago, and we are just wrapping up with the reversal of the Wheel of Fortune. Jonathan says, also, you may feel frustrated because your efforts are yielding no results. Remember, too, that the wheel represents that which is out of control. Attempting to control something over which you have ... Jonathan leaving us with another cliffhanger. have no power will lead to frustration. If failure is pending, you may need to consider returning to the drawing board to rework a new idea. Okay, so let's see if I have a better activity for you this week than I did last week. Let me find my Google Sheet here, which apparently disappeared in the great YouTube crash of today, which is apparently becoming a weekly occurrence and is very frustrating. I don't know how to embrace that particular wheel. I've got to figure out why that's happening. We might have to use a different computer, which means my background may not be so pretty. So I'll have to think about that. All right, come on, little Google Sheet that says still loading. All right, so if you like to participate in the activities, if you want to talk about them in the Tarot Playdate Facebook group, if you want to post cards or activity results on Instagram, use the hashtag Tarot Playdate. All right, this is a short one. So I will, of course, as always, put it in the description box below, both stream videos and in the Facebook group. This one is called Trusting in Fate. Trust your deck to make a decision for you. Ooh, put your hands in the fate of the tarot cards. We do that a lot though, don't we? For example, if you don't know what to have for dinner, pull out as many cards as you have options. Assign a card to each option, shuffle, and see what happens. The Wheel of Fortune has decided. So in other words, if you can find 5 cards to represent whether you're going to eat out, whether you're going to stay in, whether you're going to have whatever kind of food, this is just one example of a decision, right? Pull out a few cards and then let the tarot decide. See what fate has in store for you. All right, so that's just a fun little silly activity that you can do this week. I just want to say thank you all once again for being with me, for hanging with me across 2 different streams. It ran a little long today because we had that little bit of a glitch in the middle. I will hopefully get that stream all fixed up. And I appreciate you all helping me get a much, much better understanding of the Wheel of Fortune. I think I'll do better with it in my readings going forward. You guys are awesome. Have a wonderful week. Embrace change. Don't resist. And I will see you all next week for our 42nd Tarot Playdate. Sending lots of love to all of you. Thank you so much. Bye. There we go.